Regardless of whether you're new, intermediate, or advanced at manifestation, you are still going to have those nagging negative thoughts. The human mind, more often than not, will go to a negative situation as opposed to a positive. More often than not, we will catastrophize things that really aren't that bad, and more often than not, we will victimize ourselves. It is part of human nature to do all of those things that I have listed. So when it comes to negative thoughts, you are no different to anybody else. You are simply just a human that is having a normal human experience, and you absolutely should not be getting on your own back and beating yourself up because you are having negative thoughts come in regarding your desire. Now, I'm not going to sit there and say that you should be having negative thoughts and, you're having loads of them, keep doing it, that's great, because ideally we don't want to. But when negative thoughts come up, do not beat yourself up, because it is not something worth beating yourself up for. You are simply just being human, having a human experience. However, obviously we will want to learn how to overcome those negative thoughts as effectively as possible so that you can manifest your desires going forward. Just because you've become aware of a thought or aware of a negative circumstance that is creating negative thoughts does not mean you have to associate with that negative thought or that negative circumstance that has created those thoughts. You are not your thoughts. You are the awareness you place on those thoughts. When you have a negative thought of, let's say for example, person doesn't want me, that does not need to be your truth. That does not need to be the end all be all of your thoughts. You can change those thoughts. You can choose whether or not you want to feed into those thoughts. You can do something different and focus on something different. So because your thoughts are entirely up to you to change, if they come up, perfectly normal. You're just a human. It's part of the process. But you don't have to abide by that thought. You don't have to associate with that thought, and you don't have to let that thought be true for you. Instead, you will want to redirect your focus away to positive thoughts so that you can create some positive outcomes for yourself. The more that you learn to do this, the more that you learn to overcome these thoughts, the more you'll be feeding your subconscious mind the positives that you would rather be true, as opposed to the continuation of these negative thoughts that pop up. What comes up isn't what matters, it's where you take it. It's perfectly normal, as I've mentioned, and part of the human experience to have negative thoughts come up. If you couldn't have negative thoughts whatsoever, nobody would manifest anything. Because as soon as anyone just has a normal human experience and has a negative thought, that would be it, game over. So clearly it's not like a case of, you've had a negative thought, that's it, manifestation done. It's a case of, you've had a negative thought, is that your truth? If yes, then obviously you should expect more of whatever that thought is providing. If no, and you would rather something else, redirect your focus back onto that new thing and reside within that new thing more dominantly than you resided within that negative thought. Because everything absolutely is a choice. And as all of the Neville fanatics would quote, Neville says, let the old man die, letting go of the old story, all of these other terminologies that you'll hear across the manifestation community. By letting go of the old self, old thoughts, old circumstances that you associate with, old state of being, and choosing to focus solely on the new, you will be creating that new. And if that old version tries creeping in, that's absolutely fine as part of the human process. As part of your mind trying to just claw its way back to what is safe and familiar, which is the old story. But if you allow it to take over, if you allow it to be your new truth, that old story is going to become your continued story. So instead, you want to notice when that old version of you is creeping in and change it to be something different. Now, the great thing about us as manifestors, people that understand the law and manifestation at large, is manifestation doesn't stop negative thoughts. It's not like you become a manifester and all of a sudden, boom, you never have negative thoughts again. But manifestation gives you the tools and processes to overcome them. Me, someone who is sort of efficient at manifesting, and someone completely random who has no idea who it is, what manifestation is, we will both have the same sorts of things. Negative thoughts, potentially reactions, so on and so forth. It's perfectly normal. The differences between us is now that I am aware of manifestation and can make use of it, I now know the tools that are required, the processes that are required to overcome those thoughts. And I know that manifestation and overcoming those thoughts can bring me desires that I want to experience. So not only is it giving me the tools and processes to overcome those thoughts, it's also giving me a future result and drive to actually do so. Whereas the average person who has no idea would probably just let those thoughts take over. Maybe they'll try getting over them because they don't like it, but they won't really make use of it. So as someone who is currently here watching this video right now, remember that you now have the capability and power, or the understanding of your capability and power, much more than the average person does. Make use of it. Let that old man die. Let the old story die. Let the old state of being die. Whatever terminology you like to refer to it as, let it die and focus on solely becoming your new self. If you have a negative thought, human, part of the process, normal. I would probably be worried if you said you never had negative thoughts again, because to me, that would say that you're not being aware of your thoughts whatsoever. Because if I was to be aware of my thoughts on an average day, I can assure you that even I right now have a lot of negative thoughts. An example, actually. I'll give you an example, and this is something that I did last night. We're currently in a hotel room, which is why this is a different background and environment, because we're on holiday. And Katie was trying to put the baby down. Now, we have to use a travel cot because obviously we're traveling, and it's slightly steeper than our normal cot, which means you have to lean her in more, which means there's more like opportunity and time, so to speak, for her to sort of jolt awake because she feels like she's falling. While she was doing that and I was watching her, I could feel myself being tense, already just anticipating the baby waking up. And lo and behold, she did every single time. And it must have been about the 4th time she tried to put her down, maybe 3rd, I can't remember. It was late, I was tired. I realized what I was doing. I realized I was tense within myself. And I was like, I'm anticipating her waking up. I'm anticipating this going wrong. So of course it's going to. So on that 3rd or 4th time, while I laid there and watched her, I just relaxed. Anytime I felt myself tense up, I just relaxed. I was like, oh yeah, this is amazing. You know, she did it. She did it. The baby's in there. She's absolutely fine. And that was the time when it went absolutely fine. I still have those moments on an average day to day where I have to catch myself going, oh, what am I doing? I'm waiting for this negative thing to happen. I'm literally sitting here thinking about this negative thing, waiting for it to happen. Because it's human. But the difference is, as a manifester and as someone who is successful at manifesting, I realized what I was doing. I realized what the impact of those negative thoughts could have had on me, or was having on me. It was literally happening real time. Every time she tried to put it down, it went wrong. And it gave me, and I had the tools and processes to overcome it, and the understanding as to why I needed to overcome it. I was sat there thinking, well, if I relax a bit and just, hold the assumption that it's done, I can go to sleep. Lo and behold, she got her down. I went to sleep because I changed those thoughts and I changed what I was anticipating. Anticipating for? Or what I was anticipating? I changed what I was anticipating. I'm going to go with that. I don't know if that's grammatically correct, but I'm going to go with it. And as a result, I got the result that I wanted. So if you're stuck there right now having negative thoughts, that's okay. It's human. Do not beat yourself up. It's literally part of the process. But what is also part of the process is learning to and having the discipline and drive to overcome those thoughts so that you can create the outcome you desire. Your dominant story is what will manifest. So it's not like you need to be perfect. It's not like you had a bad 5 minutes, something went slightly wrong and it just kind of got in your head a little bit. Who gives a fuck? That's a bad 5 minutes. Let's have a good rest of the 23 hours and 55 minutes of the day that you could possibly have. If it's your dominant story, you have a whole lot of time in the day that you can make up for those bad 5 minutes, or that 20-minute spiral, or those few nagging thoughts. So why not put in the work and do so? Because just like me with that example yesterday, yes, it may have felt easier to anticipate and feel tense, but it definitely didn't feel easier waiting 20, 30, 40, maybe even an hour longer to be able to sleep. Just putting the effort in to actually relax myself when I realised myself getting tense and anticipating allowed me to have more sleep, which felt better in the long run. Think of the long run journey of putting in the work, and I guarantee that will kick your ass back into gear. So I really hope you've enjoyed this video. Apologies it's a day late, and apologies it may not necessarily be the sort of structured ones that you were kind of looking out for, but being on holiday with 3 kids to look after and the rest of my family, because I also paid for them to come on holiday with us, it's a lot harder to find time to record than I was expecting. So I still want to stay consistent with the uploads, like I said, but I'm just a little bit of I think I'm a day behind. I think I posted on Tuesday instead of Monday, and now Thursday instead of Wednesday, and probably Saturday instead of Friday. But I'm still doing what I said, which is bringing you the content that I can, and I really hope that this is good enough to keep you going until Saturday's video and to get you your desires. Thank you so much for watching. If any of you are in need of any short 10-minute calls to just kind of get you on the right side, maybe discuss a few things and give you some advice, here is some feedback that I received about the last call that I did, which was really beneficial and positive. So that call option, along with many other bonuses, is available on my gold membership tier, which is linked down below in the description, which is the link tree, and you can find it there. If you want more intense one-to-one work with me, I also have one-to-one services available, which I get tons of great reviews for. So I highly recommend you check that out. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.